Yesterday, Sayadaw explained the 5 Padāniyanga, the 5 factors of striving. Padāniya is the person who exerts effort in order to develop the mind and the knowledge. Practicing Satipatthana meditation is to purify the mind so that the mind will be free from defilements and the mind will be developed, cultured. When one discerns distinctly between nama rupa, cause and effect, and the characteristics of impermanent suffering and non-self, the person gains Sambodha Sukha. When one attains Magga-ñāna, path knowledge, discerning the 4 noble truths, the happiness that is associated with the path knowledge is called Sambodha Sukha. And there will also be Sambodha Rati, the delight by gaining knowledge. By attaining Magga-ñāna, path knowledge, one becomes outstanding human. One's mind is developed, cultivated, and one gains happiness. When a person attains at least Uddiyabaya-ñāna, knowledge into fast arising and passing away of the objects, one gains happiness that is unique. The happiness gained through the practice is always new and fresh. It will not get old, but it will always be new and fresh, and one will not be fed up with it. Concerning with worldly objects, concerning with sensual objects, when a person gets the same kind of sensual object over and over again, after some time, the person gets bored with the sensual object, and the person gets fed up with that. But in the practice of Satipatthana meditation, when the person develops knowledge, the happiness that is gained through the practice is very unique, and one gains happiness and delight in the practice that is very unique, that is always new and fresh. It is an unrelinquishable kind of happiness that is very unique. When the yogi experiences such kind of happiness, yogi will not want to give up the happiness in the Dhamma. Even though the person has to go back to the worldly life, but the person always recalls the happiness of Dhamma, as the happiness of Dhamma is very unique and very special. In the text, there is the example: a mother cow who has a calf to be nursed. When the mother cow is hungry, she has to go to the pasture to eat the grass in order to relieve the hunger. Even though the mother cow has to eat in order to relieve the hunger, but still mother cow cannot feel assured of her calf. Even though she is eating, she has her calf in mind. This example is given to explain that Even though the person goes back to the worldly life, the person always recalls the happiness gained through the Dhamma, as the happiness gained through the Dhamma is very unique and special. The word Padaniyanga is made up of two parts, Padaniya and Anga. Padaniya means the person who possesses effort. The person who possesses the striving effort is called Padaniya. The person who is striving, exerting effort to do work that needs to be done is called Padaniya. Viriya is the effort. In other words, it is also translated as courage. A person who has courageous effort, if he or she faces difficulties and suffering, the person has the courage to face the difficulty. Padana is the effort, courage, striving, making the effort, striving without regard to one's body and life. There are 3 stages of effort. The first one is Arambha Dhatu, the element of the initial effort. The second is Nikama Dhatu, exerting effort stage by stage in order to overcome laziness. And Parakama Dhatu is the third, exerting effort stage by stage till one reaches one's goal. And there are 5 factors of striving. The 5 factors of striving are called Padaniyanga. Sayadaw explains the meaning of yogi. Bhavanaya yutta payuttataya yogi. Yogi is the person who practices diligently in order to develop the mind and the knowledge. Bhavana is the practice developing, cultivating, increasing the mind and the knowledge. In order to develop the mind and the knowledge, one needs to exert effort. And one needs to exert all 3 stages of effort: initial effort, step-up effort, effort stage by stage, until one reaches one's goal. Anuyutta means practicing continuously, stage by stage, and one needs to exert 3 stages of viriya, effort, in order to be a true yogi. Yoga is the effort. One should exert the 3 stages of effort: initial effort, step-up effort, and effort stage by stage till one reaches one's goal. A person who is endowed with these 3 stages of effort, yoga, is called a yogi. In order to be a true yogi, one needs to exert all 3 stages of effort in order to develop both the mind and the knowledge. But if a person is lazy in the practice, if the person is lazy to initiate the effort, and if one faces difficulties, if the person is afraid to hurt himself, herself, then the person is not called a yogi. one should be striving in the practice, willing to give up one's body and life. One should practice diligently without regard to one's body and life till one reaches one's goal, so that one will be developing both the mind and the knowledge. Practicing diligently, one gains the happiness that excels many times than the worldly happiness. So one has to examine oneself. One has to ask the question, why does one come to practice? What is the goal of practicing? The goal of practicing is to develop the mind and the knowledge. So it is important to practice in order to meet one's goal. In order to meet one goal, one needs to exert the 3 stages of effort: initial effort, step-up effort, effort stage by stage, till one reaches one's goal. And there are 5 factors of striving. The 5 factors of striving are called Padaniyanga. Yesterday, Sayadaw explained the 5 factors briefly. The first factor is to have faith and confidence. Sato hoti sadahati tathagatassa bodhi. One should have faith and confidence in the knowledge of the Buddha. One should be endowed with sada, faith and confidence in things that are worthy of faith and confidence. Based on the fact that it is probable, it is possible, one should have faith and confidence. One should have faith and confidence in the virtue of the Buddha. And if the person has difficulty in having faith and confidence in the Buddha, who is the person, one should have faith and confidence in the Dhamma. And one should have faith and confidence in oneself. Even if the person does not have faith and confidence in the meditation teacher, one should at least have the faith and confidence in the Dhamma as well as oneself. One should have faith and confidence that by practicing diligently, his or her diligent practice will not be useless, but it will bring benefit. In this way, one should have faith and confidence. The level and the type of sada, faith and confidence, vary from one person to another. There are 4 kinds of faith and confidence. Pasada sada is the serene faith. Okapana sada, the trusting faith. Adhigama sada and agama sada. So one should understand that there are 4 types, 4 levels of sada, faith and confidence. The first type of sada is pasada sada, serene faith. When one come across things that are worthy of faith and confidence, the mind becomes serene. And also by hearing the Dhamma, the mind becomes serene. And when one sees the Buddha's image, the person who has faith and confidence in the Buddha feels serene to see the image of the Buddha. So the first type, serene faith, does not involve knowledge. It is just a serene faith that is not associating with knowledge. It is a minor kind of faith and confidence. The second type is the Okkappanasata, trusting faith. When one hears the sound Bodho, Dhammo, Sangho, when the person reflects the virtue of the triple gem to the extent of one's knowledge, having faith and confidence that the virtue of the triple gem is possible and correct, the person develops faith and confidence, and such faith and confidence is called Okkappanasata, trusting faith. The first two types of faith and confidence, Pasadasata, serene faith, and Okkappanasata, trusting faith, arises in Puthojana, the worldly beings. The serene faith, Pasadasata, arises in those who lack knowledge. Serene faith arises mostly in the people who lack knowledge of the mind and matter, people who do not discern the nama rupa, has serene saddha, faith and confidence. Okkappanasata, the trusting faith, arises in those who has knowledge, usually in Kalyana Puthojana, who understands nama rupa theoretically, or also in people who practice meditation and gain the knowledge into nama rupa as well as the lower knowledges, has Okkappanasata, the trusting faith. Among these two types, Pasadasata, the serene faith, arises in those who lack knowledge. As the person lacks knowledge, the person accepts things that she thinks of it as right. For example, even though there is no atta, but the person believes that there is atta. There is no creator, but the person believes as creator. A person who does not have the foundation, who lacks knowledge, believes in things that are not correct. And the person who is lacking knowledge, if he or she is persuaded by eloquent speakers of other beliefs, such person comes to believe in wrong things that leads the person to suffer. The Pasadasata is the serene faith that does not involve knowledge. And when the person comes across other people that persuade him or her into wrongful things, then the person will believe in these wrongful things. And it is called Moddapasana, the blind faith. In this way, the person who lacks knowledge comes to believe in wrongful things, that his or her faith becomes useless. So it is also called Moddapasana, as it is the useless kind of faith. The Okkappanasata, the trusting faith, arises in those who has knowledge. Based on the things that are worthy of faith and confidence, the person comes to accept through his or her knowledge that it is right. Based on the cause and effect, or hearing the virtues of the trustworthy objects, or knowing the virtue through the person's practice, then the person comes to believe with his or her knowledge, coming into acceptance, confirmation, and decision that it is correct. And it is Ōkapana Saddha, the trusting faith. So the trusting faith has the characteristic of accepting, confirming, coming to a decision that it is correct and it is trustworthy. The kind of faith and confidence that involves knowledge makes the mind serene. Having saddha, faith and confidence, the sediments will settle and the mind will be clear and serene. So it has the quality of keeping the mental state, the mental factors, clear and serene. When practicing Satipatthana meditation, such kind of saddha, faith and confidence arises. The mind becomes serene. Having saddha, faith and confidence, the mind becomes clear and serene, where the sediments settle and the mind becomes clear, serene, and it is supporting the knowledge. Saddha, faith and confidence support the knowledge, that the knowledge becomes clear, serene, and the mind also becomes clear and serene. When there is the current of water, if the water is not clear, then one will not see the image in unclear water. Even if the water is clear, but if the water is not still, one cannot see the image. Whereas the water is both clear and still, one can see the image in the clear, still water, the water that is free from sediment. So when the water has sediment, when the sediment settles, the water will become clear, and one can see oneself in the clear, still water. In the mind, when the saddha, faith and confidence arises, when the mind is calm, collected with samadhi, having saddha, the mind will be clear, serene. The sediments have settled down, and the mind becomes clear and serene. When one comes to know the virtue of the triple gem, when one knows that it is possible, it is correct, and also coming to know that good deeds bring good results, bad deeds bring bad results, good and bad deeds lead to further existences, and there are lives to be followed. So based on these things which are possible, which are correct, one develops faith and confidence. It is the proximate cause, the objects that are worthy of faith and confidence, is the proximate cause for saddha to arise. If one wants to develop saddha, faith and confidence, one needs to choose objects that are worthy of faith and confidence. And if one cannot choose the objects that are worthy of faith and confidence, one should have a true companion who knows the correct object to have faith and confidence in. Having faith and confidence, the mind will be clear, serene, away from the sediments. The third type, adhigama saddha, is the faith and confidence of the Ariya, noble person. The noble person realizes the Four Noble Truths, and by realizing the Four Noble Truths, the Ariya, the noble person, attains adhigama saddha, that is, firm and unshaken. Agama saddha is the faith and confidence of those who had high goal, those who have great metta and karuna, who had great loving kindness and compassion towards beings. The person who himself does not want to liberate himself alone, but to save others so that others will also be free from suffering. Such kind of person who has great compassion towards the beings, who are aiming for sabbanyutta jnana, omniscient knowledge, the agama saddha arises in these the bodhisattvas and the Buddha to be. From the time that they set their goal to attain the sabbanyutta jnana, their faith and confidence will be continuous from the time they set their goal until they reach their goal. So the faith and confidence of those bodhisattvas, the Buddha to be, are called agama saddha. The bodhisattva had the great goal, and in order to reach their great goal, they perfected the paramis, they perfected the perfections. After they get the definite prophecy from the Buddha that the bodhisattva will become a Buddha, the faith and confidence of the bodhisattva from the time they receive the definite prophecy, such saddha, faith and confidence will never deteriorate. Based on the faith and confidence that good deeds bring good results, bad deeds bring bad results, and by perfecting the paramis, perfections, they attain the Buddhahood. From the time they receive the definite prophecy till they become the Buddha, the faith and confidence does not deteriorate due to the agama saddha. Whatever conditions and whatever situation they might meet, whether they are born in the family with wrong belief, but still he has the right faith and confidence So even if Bodhisattva was born in the family with wrong belief, the Bodhisattva's belief and faith is correct due to the Agama Satta. In the Badani-yanga, in the 5 factors of striving, the first factor, Saddhohoti Saddhahati, the person should be endowed with faith and confidence, means that the person should have Okapana Saddha, trusting faith. Based on the objects that are possible, that are correct, based on knowledge of the person has firm faith and confidence. In order to develop faith and confidence, one should listen to the Dhamma that is correct. One should learn the scriptures. One should discuss with the teacher. In this way, by learning through listening, discussing, and reading, one can develop the trusting faith. One should awaken one saddha by learning, and one should listen attentively on the Dhamma. And also, one should put it into practice. One should practice so that one will gain benefit. One should be endowed with Okapana Saddha, the trusting faith. It is very important, and it is the first factor of striving. By listening to the Dhamma, one will know how to practice. One can awaken the faith and confidence by listening to the Dhamma. And one should cultivate the awakened saddha through the practice. If a person is asleep, even though somebody wakes him or her up, but if the person thinks that he or she has not enough sleep, lazy to get up, continue to sleep, then the person loses to have work in time. In this way, the person fails to do work in time. One should awaken one saddha by listening to the Dhamma. Just by listening to the Dhamma, if the person does not cultivate the awakened saddha with practice, then his or her saddha will not develop, will not increase, and the person will not be developing the mind and the knowledge. One should awaken one saddha, faith and confidence, by listening to the Dhamma, and one should cultivate the awakened saddha through the practice. And through the practice, by developing knowledge, one will come to acceptance, confirmation and decision that it is correct, and the person's faith and confidence will be increased and it will become firm. So it is important to cultivate the awakened saddha by practicing diligently with all the 3 stages of effort, practicing, striving hard, continuously, without stopping, without resting, so that the person's faith and confidence will become firm, steady, and unshaken, and the benefit will be valuable. And Saraji will continue to explain tomorrow.